All right, we're going live here. It's been a long while for Brad the Believer, formerly the Rest Stop. Hopefully, again, we'll be coming to you in the near future, but haven't broadcasted the podcast in many months now and haven't even checked in since football season started. A new schedule for me and the fiance has kind of put a lot of that on hold. But I got a little time this morning and a little energy. And of course, living here in Las Vegas, the big news with John Gruden and the Raiders has just been a bombshell to the city of Las Vegas, to the Raiders organization, to the Raider Nation fan base, to so many football fans across the world. So I had to jump on here and give a hot take and opinion and really just kind of maybe give you guys 20, 30 minutes and just get it off my chest because man, I just got it. I got to get it out there. There's just so much to be said. There's so much excitement. And even if you're not a Raiders fan, you're just a football fan, you just feel the energy. I mean, we're back a full season with fans in the stadiums, whether it's college football, pro football. There's just so much action going on. For me here in Vegas, not only just the excitement of the betting, because in college football, there's been so many upsets, so many teams falling. It's just so wide open. But the NFL is amazing also. Quietly behind the scenes, I've been doing this contest for free online, and my NFL picks have been pretty solid so far this year. And we'll see if that's sustainable. Some of these young quarterbacks like Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, anybody you guys watching this and that are football fans, you see it with your own eyes. You see with Mahomes and some of these young quarterbacks, you see what's going on. You see the talent, and it's just really fun to watch. And it's really fun to see which teams are going to step up and which teams are going to rise to the occasion come playoff time. And I honestly, I think one of my hot takes is that the Chiefs under Patrick Mahomes may have seen their last Super Bowl. And I know that some people may think that's crazy, but I think the gap is closing so quickly and that much with guys like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, the way that the Browns are playing all around offensively and defensively. I just think there's so much talent out there, and I just don't know that the Chiefs are going to be able to sustain this. I think Kelsey and Tyreek Hill are fantastic, but they've been banged up here a little bit, and they're not getting any younger, and you cannot sign them forever. So I know it's a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy, but I think the Chiefs window has officially closed here in 2021. So I'm going to wait for a couple more people, hopefully, to jump on here before I give my Raiders hot take over here. But like I said, just catching up with some football, and it's just awesome to just start talking about football a little bit. I desperately wish I could do the podcast more, especially during this football season, but I had to put it on hold. Started a new job that the hours are 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. and the fiance works in the morning time, and Spencer the Wiz works in the morning time. So we just weren't able to get our schedules to collaborate to put in the proper effort on the show. So look, I got two people on here. I'm ready to give my hot Raiders take 3 joining now. I wish we had a few more, but if you missed it live, you can always go back and watch it on one of the platforms. I'm streaming it right now on Facebook, on Twitter at Brad the Believer on YouTube. So, here it is with the Raiders talk, guys. Separately from John Gruden, right? Because there's nothing anybody can do to go back and change what happened with John Gruden. But more importantly, the guys in the locker room and the fan base, Raider Nation, the fan base, they want to know what's next. They want hope. All right. So I'm going to give you hope right now. And here's that hope is Mike Mayock came out yesterday and he had to answer some questions in regards to what was going on and pretty much said, look, guys, we're only 5 games into the season, only 5 games in. There's 14 games left in the season. Anybody hanging their heads, ready to pack it in, ready to call it a day? We put too much effort, too much work into this season to throw it all away right now. I'm sorry. The cat, of course, is ruining my mojo, so I got to let him out real quick, and I'll jump right back on here. All right, sorry about that. All right, so hopefully a couple more people jump back on. But look, here's my message to Raider Nation, and I'm gonna just kind of uh, role play here, like I'm the head coach, and the message that I think needs to be delivered inside that locker room to really salvage this season and make it memorable, because there's a lot of layers to unpack with this Raiders situation, right? And clearly there's tons of emotion going on with Mark Davis, with the players, with the coaches. Regardless of what that emotion is, it varies and it's all over the board. Some guys, I mean, you can describe the emotion. It can be sadness, it can be anger, it can be you know, just lost, not knowing what to do. Some of the young guys, possibly. There's just all kinds of emotions within 53 guys, 10, 11 practice squad guys. Every human being's differently. So the way that they're processing this information and the way that they're absorbing it is all different, right? So as a coaching staff, as general manager, as players that want, the job is to win football games. The job is to get to the playoffs and ultimately win championships. That is the ultimate job, regardless of all the distractions going on. And you hear all these flashy words, compartmentalize. Of course, that's what you have to do as a professional athlete. There's so much noise going on outside of the locker room, outside of the facility. You have to find ways to compartmentalize your life, what's going on in your personal life, whether it's your marriage, your kids, your parents, families asking for money, anything that could be possibly going on, friends with addictions, you name it, that could be a possible distraction. As a professional athlete, you have to find ways to compartmentalize the things going on. And when you get in between those doors, in the locker room, on the practice field, on game day, you've got to focus on doing your job and doing it to the best of your ability, and finding a way to win games. And so that's how the message starts off. But really, if I'm a coach and I'm role playing here, this is what I'm saying to the team. Guys, clearly everybody in this locker room and in this facility, whether it's coaches or players, has a wide range of emotions. The facts are that the NFL and the parties that leaked these emails did not give a shit or a crap about the Raiders, about you as players, or your family. There was an agenda out of 650,000 emails. The only one that was leaked and the only damage that was done up to this point is Jon Gruden losing his job probably permanently in the NFL. And where was the collateral damage? On the Raiders, the players, your families, and the fan base. Look at that collateral damage of emotions. Nobody gave a crap about you when this came out. And look at how you were affected emotionally, mentally, asking questions, family, friends, the distraction, the gamut of emotions just run wild with the collateral damage that happened with these emails that were distributed. The NFL and anybody involved did not care one iota about the collateral damage that happened within the Raiders organization. With that being said, not only does that affect you as a man, as a football player, but your families, and it affects the food that goes on your table and the money in your pocket. And you should be pissed off about that, really pissed off. And what I want you to do as men and as players is look at each other in the eyes. And I want you to control that aggression and have controlled aggression and anger and be pissed off every single day that you walk into this building. I want you to be so pissed off that you're laser focused on the job that you have to do. You're so pissed off that you're going to prove to everybody that thinks that, oh, the Raiders, their season's done for. They might as well pack it in with all this distraction. I want you to prove everybody wrong and stick it straight up their ass. And I want you to do it in a fashion that you can't even imagine. I want you to take all of that anger, all of that emotion that has construed and that is combusted through this situation, and I want you to take it out on your opponent, the person you line up against, man to man, day to day. I want you to take that pain that you felt during this situation, and I want you to inflict that pain on your opponent, whether it's a lineman, whether it's a defensive back. I want you to make him feel the pain that you felt having to deal with all this emotion and distraction from this situation. I want you to channel that emotion and that anger to doing your job laser focused and to the best of your ability. And I want you to go and strike somebody so hard that they feel it every play, every moment. And that's going to create an energy and an enthusiasm, and it's going to create plays on the field, and it's going to galvanize the team. And I think you have to take that angry approach in this situation, because if you walk around in a professional sport with your head down and kind of woe is me, and there's inconsistency on the emotion of how you feel, it's hard to galvanize an entire team. That's why I think taking the anger approach and the stick it to them approach in this situation, that everybody's against us. Now we're going to stick it to everybody and show them that we're not only are we Raiders and we're protecting the shield, but we're going to prove everybody wrong, and we're going to make history this season. Because how historic would it be if the Raiders can come together as an organization, as a team, where everybody's counting them out? Who is this Rich Bisaccia special teams coach? Mike Mayock, he's John Gruden's guy. Oh, Derek Carr, he's Gruden's guy. Everybody is counting this team out. If you can come together and be so pissed off and so angry that you were collateral damage in a situation that actually had nothing to do with the Las Vegas Raiders, it had everything to do with the Washington football team, and John Gruden was caught in the crossfires, and in turn, you as the Raiders football team and organization are collateral damage. And this has nothing to do whether with Gruden was right or wrong. This has to do with what the Raiders will do as a football team right now, Sunday against the Denver Broncos, and the rest of the 12, 13, 14 weeks of the regular season. You've put in all of this work for months, for weeks leading up to this point, and we're only 5 games in it, and we're 3-2. We cannot let this situation dictate our entire season. Instead, we will use this as fuel, as anger, as motivation. Every moment we step into this facility, we will be so pissed off and so laser focused on the job that we have to do. And we are going to inflict the emotional and physical pain that we have felt going through this historic time on our opponents in a way that they don't see coming in any form or fashion. And you got guys like Denzel Perryman on defense, like Ndakwe, like Crosby. And you got guys that if you could come together on the offensive side of the ball, Jacobs, the offensive lineman, and these guys from the linemen to the running backs to the defensive backs to the linebackers will inflict pain on their opponents. Take that pain and channel all of that aggression into doing their job to the best of their ability on their opponents, but in a fashion that is so aggressive, so angry, so violent within the rules that this Raiders team looks like a team that you've never seen before. And that's absolutely possible. And in my opinion, that is the way to approach this, because it's too difficult in the human psyche, because these guys were all human beings here in this situation. It's too difficult in such a tumultuous situation to be passive in a violent game of football, to be too, inconsistent in your mentality of what you need to do. So in my opinion, the approach is channeled aggression, channeled anger for the fact that the NFL and the entire league, pretty much the Raiders were collateral damage, the players, the coaches, and the fan base. And it should piss people off. It should piss Raiders fans off. So when they're at the stadium, they're absolutely berserk and losing their minds, and the other team will be affected by that. We see it day in and day out in stadiums, teams having false starts and having penalties because of crowd noise. The Raiders fans should be pissed off and bring that to Allegiant Stadium. The players and coaches should be pissed off so that when they line up against their opponents, whether it's at home or away, they are so focused, laser focused in inflicting violent aggression and pain as far as doing their job. And when I'm talking about blocking, tackling, hitting, running, you're doing it so aggressively and so within your realm. You're just stepping up to another level. And I know that's possible. I've been there. I've been in a football situation in my football career where I knew that I was going to be suspended for a game because of some knucklehead thing I did beforehand. But I had to go out and practice that week. And I was so pissed off. And I'm speaking for myself, but this is kind of a sentiment of a football player. I was so pissed off that I could not play in that game. I came to practice like a different person, and my teammates even recognized. They're like, "Who is this guy?" And I was lighting up people, lighting up sleds, anything in my way. I was just destroying. And you can channel that and take that energy. This is what football is about. This is what this game is about. You have to have a different type of mentality. You have to be wired a different way to be a professional athlete. You have to be a bit crazy to collide and do this, to put this yourself through this type of punishment on a daily, weekly, yearly basis to begin with. So why not take that, all of that emotion, all of that energy, and channel it into doing your job and doing it in a way that the opponent does not expect, they're surprised by, because they're not expecting you to turn the tables on this situation. So that will determine what kind of men are in this locker room for the Raiders. And I don't know any of these guys personally. Some of my colleagues in the industry, the Sportsanista, if she's still on, Ed Graney, Clay, some of the guys that cover the Raiders, Adam Hill, these guys here locally, maybe know some of these players more on a personal level, but just speculating from the outside looking in, you've got a mixture of veterans and young players on this team. I mean, Derek Carr is a veteran. Some guys on defense are veterans, but you also have a lot of young guys in the skill position areas. Henry Ruggs is a second-year guy. Jacobs is young, but these guys are from the Alabama creed, which is Nick Saban, which is tough football. So that's an interesting dynamic when you're talking about the psychology of a player and what they've already been through getting to that point. Hunter Renfrow from Clemson. So you've got guys that are young but are battle tested in the psyche of having to go through adversity or have tough coaching or being held accountable coming through the Alabama program. So this is a lot to unpack mentally for players, for coaches. And so many distractions still, even though Gruden's not in the facility anymore, with the questions. Not only the players and their families have to answer, whether it's in person, through the media, or on social media. It's all over the place. These guys are getting blown up with text messages and all kinds of stuff. But I really believe if a football team, and it's going to be on these captains, the captains of the team, whether it's Alex Ingold, Carr, and some of these guys, the captains have to start leading the way, and the rest of the guys will follow. And in my belief, if you can take this us against the world mentality, which is not just kind of a thing, it's really kind of fact in this situation. I mean, the Raiders are collateral damage of an isolated person that lost their job at this point. I mean, this stuff came out and it's targeting one person at this point. And it wasn't just Gruden that was affected. Everybody in that building is affected by this. And the Raiders should take that as motivation and anger, and take that anger and emotion out on somebody. And that somebody should be their opponent, starting with the Denver Broncos on Sunday. We'll see if they take that mentality or if it fits somewhere along the lines of how they performed against the Bears, which was kind of lethargic, unenergized. And you can kind of see that in a pro football game. Not saying that they were completely distracted, but you definitely can see a difference when you saw the Raiders in the first couple weeks when they started off 1-0, 2-0. I didn't see a defense hit that hard and with that much energy from the Raiders in a long time. And that's one of the first things I noticed in game one. I'm like, wow, they are flying to the football and they are laying heat on people. And if they can bring that with a